Okay, cool. Well then, since we're live, welcome everybody. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This is the Magical Coffee Hour. If you're not new to the channel, then you know me. I am Caffeine and Chaos, also known as the Linda. That handsome guy over there is Drake, the Working Dragon Mystic. What's up, Drake?
Not much. Doing pretty good. This path working's messing with my sleep schedule.
Ooh,
Like completely.
that's not good. I have a cranky guy that sleeps with me who's messing with my sleep schedule since he's foregoing wearing his CPAP, and that makes me angry. But, I make it work. I just smack him and tell him to wake the fuck up and go back to sleep. Anyways, like I said, if you're new to the channel, welcome. This is our time on Sundays where we get together and we talk about things that of a magical variety, where you guys have questions, I have questions, Drake has or should have some form of answer. If he doesn't have an answer, then we just point, laugh, and call him dumb. Just kidding, we don't laugh and call
See, it's times like that when I wish I could fall back on the military standard. I don't know. I'll get back to you on that.
Well, I mean, you could next week, but then by then I've already forgotten about it and moved on to something new.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so as we were talking about on your stream, if you guys didn't know, Drake is now streaming solo dolo on Friday evenings, same time as here, so at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are here in Hawaii, then that's 3 o'clock Hawaii Standard Time. Anything in between, I have no freaking clue what it is because I don't pay attention any other time. But, that is me. That's what I do. Hold on. I need to take care of this reverb. Okay, we're back. But this is where I ask questions, he gives us answers, and you guys come in and you can ask us questions. You can ask me whatever you want to know, and yeah, I'll provide you with answers. My answers are not going to be nearly as awesome as Drake's. I usually go off on random tangents, and sometimes Drake goes off on tangents, and I just, yell at him to shut up so I can ask another question.
Yeah, that should help your reverb too.
All right.
I left my speakers on.
Drake, you are muted, my friend.
I'm muted?
Check your mic.
How'd I mute myself? Hello?
I know you just put your headpiece in.
Yeah, I did.
Is that muted?
No?
Boop, bop, 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 bop,
Hello?
bop, bop.
This
No,
is
nothing.
weird.
I'm just going to sit here and drink my coffee.
Huh.
You may have to go sans earpiece, friend.
That's the thing. I didn't plug it in. At
Did
all.
you say you're going to have it in?
I didn't plug it in.
Can't hear you. I don't know what just happened. It looks
Hello?
like we may have to start the stream.
I don't either. That is weird.
How about now?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
You can hear me now.
I can hear you now.
That makes no sense. I didn't do anything.
I'm blaming dragons on this one.
This is why I say metaphysical practitioners and technology don't mix.
Wait. Let's get back to it then, shall we? You okay?
Yep. Let me know
Alright.
if I disappear again.
Well, if you disappear, we'll go hunt you down. So if you guys can read the subject line, if you can't, well then I'm sorry that your English teacher at some point in time failed you. But today we are going to be going over Hecate. Did I say that right? I don't know if I said that right. But we're going to go with that. She is the mother of witches. If you have watched the most recent season of Sabrina, or not, spoiler alert, she is actually brought up in the new season. If you are getting into, by the way, nice mug there, Drake.
Thank you.
I like that. Sorry about that. Anyways, yes. You can get that over at Working Dragon Mystic. Am I correct?
Uh,
Not
Soon
yet.
you will be able to. We have another mug that's we're also trying to get done, and we're having a slight farfignugan. We got 2 samples. It was printed upside down, so once that's straightened out, yes.
Sweet. Okay. So, anyways, I'm so easily distracted right now.
It's a coffee
Anyway.
cup. It's shiny.
Shiny object. All right. So, if you are familiar with the new season of Sabrina, you should be aware that Hecate is brought up, and if you are newer to witchcraft, whether it be Wiccan witchcraft, pagan witchcraft, or just the craft in general, she has been brought up and has become a lot more popular in recent years. I do know a little bit about her because when I first started looking into my own spiritual path, she was someone that I was very, very drawn to. Still am very drawn to her, and learning about her is actually something that piques my interest. And this was something that was brought up during his stream on Friday. So I was like, I have questions. You guys got questions. Let's ask him.
That was 2 hours Friday that I did not realize had passed.
Well, we'll try to keep it within our normal 1 hour segment today. How's that sound? Because I got some grilling to do tonight.
Okay.
All right. So my first question is who is she? Where did she come from?
Hecate or Hecate, as some people will pronounce it. She is the daughter of 2 of the Titans in Greek mythology. Now, when the war happened and the Olympians fought back and drove the Titans out and imprisoned them, Hecate actually sided with Zeus and the other Olympians. So she was not imprisoned and she was allowed to remain free and do her own thing. She was the daughter of the Titan of Destruction, and her mother, I'm wanting to say, was the Titan of the Stars and the Sky. And that's that she was also the Titan of Prophecy. So that's where Hecate picks up a lot of her powers and foresights, divinations, and stuff from. But she, so some people actually place her as an Eastern goddess. Some people think that before she came over into the Greek pantheon, that she was a goddess over on the Eastern areas.
Okay. So I guess I should provide some knowledge that I have of her. I honestly had no clue where she came from. It's basically like Cotton Eye Joe to me. You know, where'd you come from? Where'd you go? Where'd you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
God, I'm going to have that stuck in my head now. You and Raven. What is...
It's what I do. It's why I'm here. I am here to song bomb people and make you feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. But one of the things that I'm kind of curious about, or well, let me backtrack that. So one of the things that I do know about her is that she is one of the few goddesses, I should say, from most mythos that actually does not have a child. And that was actually one of the things that, you know, kind of blew my mind. Holy crap, there's actually a deity out there that is known for not having their own child other than Diana, the maiden.
Yep.
She's also considered a trifold deity, meaning that she is seen in 3 forms at the same time. So that is something else I knew about her. And the things, as well as her with her mythos, being that she was the goddess of crossroads, and the fact that she could travel between Earth and the underworld safely without having any issues, and she can cross the river Styx. Those are facts that I know about her.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I did do a little research on her a while ago. She just kind of sounded like a little bit of a Hellcat, in my opinion, that, you know, I could get behind and go, woo!
Now, I'm probably going to butcher the name, but there are people who believe that the witch, I'm wanting to say Circe, was her daughter. Though there's no mention of... There's no mention
I
of...
just know that she was known for not having...
Yeah,
children.
so, I mean, there's 2 sides. On one side, she's known for not having any kids, and then on the other side, people say that this one might be her daughter. It's like... That area gets a little confusing.
Maybe she reproduced by budding. She just kind of popped her off over her shoulder or something.
Wouldn't be the first time it's happened in mythology.
I mean, isn't that how SpongeBob was? I mean, we're going way off track here.
Well,
So,
Aphrodite was born from sea foam?
who?
Aphrodite was born from sea
Venus?
foam,
Yes.
I believe. So,
Well, depending on if you're going with the Roman mythos or if you're going with the Greek mythos.
no, that's true too. It gets a little hectic. But
They're all the
yeah,
same.
back over here
Okay.
to
We're going back off track again. Okay, so I brought up a few things. One of the things was that she's the goddess of crossroads. Can you tell me a little bit about what it means for her to be the goddess of crossroads, what it is that she provides?
yes. This is actually a big thing, and it's in modern magic. I think the ideal of crossroads has been diluted and polished down to an almost mundane concept. I actually heard someone the other day refer to the crossroads as the in-betweens, like a door, because you're not in one room or the other. And that's a really mundane way to put it, because the crossroads, they aren't anywhere. They are a space that's between all things. So they're potentially anywhere you need to be. And in magic, this is important because if you can get to the crossroads, you can essentially make contact with any entity there. Or, if you're skilled enough, you can travel to places from there. They are the infinite access point, if you would, and the infinite meeting space. So they contain a massive, infinitely amount of potential. And that's a huge thing for any entity that can not only access that, because I would say almost any entity could access that crossroads space, but to actually be an entity that that's your dominion, that's what you do, that's a big deal. You don't actually find a lot of entities that truly are crossroad entities. So these gatekeepers, if you're needing access or a pathway opened up, whether it be literal or metaphorical, those entities can pretty much open any door they need to open. For good or bad.
Okay. So, I guess one of the biggest things is, and you of all people know where I stand with this, I'm not going to go into my little soapbox, but she has become kind of I would say an idol for feminism in the magical sense, if you will. Do you know where that is, as far as like how she would stand for that, or would she not stand for that? Where it came from, that she has become kind of like a magical idol for feminism. I'm just going to get down that meat and potatoes.
Well, that's a tricky one because, I mean, if you go online, it won't take you 5 minutes to find out there's people arguing over what the hell feminism is anymore.
Can we bring back first wave? Because, you know, that.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, that's what they call it. It's this wave, this wave, and that's not feminism, that's not my feminism. I mean, it gets crazy. And I say that because, yes, she has really become a symbol of feminism, much like Lilith even. And there's a lot of feminists out there that working with Hecate when I did, I'm not sure her and them would actually see eye to eye. And I say that not because anything anti-feminist, but it's some of the ideologies that are held that, I don't know, might not even be feminism. But she's really big on self-empowerment, self-reliance, do-it-yourself, no assistance, no handouts. I mean, even in her mythology, she's the giver, she's never the taker. She defines herself by her. She refuses to be defined by any outside thing. And that's a huge, huge deal, especially when you look at those ancient cultures. So, self-reliance is something that, feminism aside even, most modern culture can't do. I mean, if you woke up tomorrow with no house, no plumbing, no car, no job, what do you do?
I just go live in the woods in a cave somewhere.
So, I mean, you know, these are questions that she actually has pushed people to ask. And I've been watching a few people, well, quite a few people I know that work with her that don't really see eye to eye with her on the full self-reliance independence view. And their lives are really chaotic. And there's a part of me that can't help but wonder if she's the one that's making them chaotic because of their refusal to be self-reliant. I can't prove it, but there does at least seem to be a correlation at this point, which I find interesting. But now that said, when it comes to that independent self-reliance, be your own person, don't define yourself by anything external, I think that's an awesome thing. And what was it? You said first wave feminism? That would probably, I think that might have been, I hope that's still the ideal, is to not define yourself by a movement, your career, or anything. Just define yourself by you. I think for that reason, I think she is a pretty good symbol.
So, whenever using her in work, what kind of work would she be specialized in utilizing? Because I know with, how you like to work a lot with the Norse deities, what kind of work would she be more specialized in that you could utilize her?
Okay, when I worked with her, it was when I was actually working with Hades. He's the one that sent me to talk to her for a little bit. So she is great in the areas of necromancy because she does have access to the underworld. Hades did actually give her free access in and out of the underworld, which I thought was pretty cool. Not a lot of I think that her and Persephone might be the only two that I know of that actually have such connection.
Persephone's guide, by the way. Yeah, just Persephone's guide.
Yep.
Just,
yes, and that's one of the reasons she was granted access, is she was helping comfort and helping Persephone transition into her role. So, yeah, anytime you're wanting to work with spirits, whether it be ancestor work, necromancy, those kinds of things, she's great in that. As a goddess of the crossroads, anytime you're starting on a new path or you're looking for a new path, you're wondering where you should go, perhaps you have three choices to make in your life, and you're not sure which direction to go. She can help you there because, again, that crossroads aspect of her. And she is considered the mother of witches because in Greek mythology, she was a witch, and she's very, very skilled at magic. So if you're wanting to learn magic and you are running short on sources, you really can't go wrong going to Hecate to learn straight from her. She will teach you. That said, she is not one to split hairs, and she will work you, and she will work you hard.
If my hair gets split anymore.
So be prepared to work when you go to her. She can be I would call her compassionate because she can have that patience. As long as you're doing your best and constantly applying, she can have that patience. But I know a lot of people find her harsh because if you ask for a timeout, she's not likely to give you that.
Okay. So I know that we've talked about different deities working alongside other deities or other entities willingly. Is she willing to? Will she, or does she require complete devotion?
It's been my experience now that she has she doesn't really have issues working with other entities. I mean, herself, she is a Titan. She completely sided with the Olympians over, I guess, what you could call her own side. So that alone pretty much shows that she'll work with who's needed to work with. She will maintain her independence, but yeah, she has no issues doing that. I mean,
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn on my light. I just realized that I'm like disappearing into shadow.
no problem.
All right. As much as I love wearing black in a dark room with a dark chair with dark everything around me, I'm kind of disappearing. Just my neon white skin is showing up.
See, that's a good thing. I have a dark skin pigment, which actually just helps me disappear more. It makes lighting even harder.
I also have dark hair, so I just kind of like fade into darkness, just my bright white skin. Okay. So I guess my next up question on this, we haven't had like a straight up just Q&A in a long time. This is kind of nice. I'm just letting you know that.
No problem.
Okay, so
I enjoy them.
tell me about the threefold. I know that there's the maiden, the mother, and the crone. What can you tell me about the three?
They actually represent the cycle of life, and the cycle of life is drastically tied into magic. Because anytime magic or energy is moving through the multiverse, it will follow a similar cycle to the cycle of life. You see this through nature as well. And the maiden is just that. She's young, she's innocent, she's curious, she's hyper, everything you would expect from an exorbitant, energetic youth. And the mother is the adult. This is the stage when many people consider fertility to be at its peak. This is the stage of nurturing. This is the stage of caring. This is the first stage of major responsibility. This is where you're actually starting to take hold of that responsibility, push aside the recklessness for the sake of recklessness, and you focus more specifically on what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and you focus on building that knowledge base and building yourself up as a whole. And in ancient cultures, this was the point where you left home and became self-reliant. Whether you went to school as an academic, whether you started your own farm, whatever it was that you decided to do, this was the stage when you set out on your own. And then the crone. This is the elder years in life. You've done all your stupid stuff. You've learned all your lessons. Now your life is slowed down and tempered with wisdom. And with that wisdom comes a vast knowledge, and with that knowledge, power in and of itself. You have manifested mountains of things throughout your life. And you're continuing to manifest as you start going into the twilight, getting ready to basically pass from life to death, which is again part of the cycle that brings you back to that beginning.
Interesting. So, I know a lot of the gods and goddesses, no matter which like mythos you follow, whether it be Greek, Roman, Egyptian, Norse, all of them, Japanese, African, like there's so many different deities, so many different entities out there. Now, how does she compare and contrast to like other gods and goddesses who have similar I guess recognition?
Yeah.
So I know she follows one moon phase, and then you have like Diana, who's another moon goddess, and then you have like all these different gods and goddesses who like who's the two-faced god of passageways? I don't remember his name. But I mean, there's so many that have the same representations. What sets her apart? What is the difference?
For me, it was her absolute just insistence on defining herself only by her, to the point where a lot throughout time she falls into the background. She's so defined by herself that everything else seems to, in ways, come to the forefront. So she does seem to fall to the background time and time again in history, but then somehow or another she pops back up every time. Like right now, we're seeing a resurgence of her practitioners and worshipers. And that insistence, I think, is one of the things that really stood out to me. Because there's a lot of other entities that do that, but they're still very active in the general community and culture that the deities are a part of. One goddess that I can think of right off is Freya. She's another goddess who is very much identifying, she is who she is, screw what you want her to be. Now, that said, she still very much is a member of the Vanir and an Azir. And she understands that she's a part of those communities, and she helps those communities. And in fact, one of her roles is Queen of the Valkyries. Half of the slain go to her, and half go to Odin. So even in that role, the rest of the pantheon is affected by that role. You don't really see that with Hecate. Everything she does is pretty much her choice, her doing, and it's for her. Now, she will help a friend, as we saw with Dimitri when Persephone was kidnapped. But she didn't make any deals or anything. It was just, I'm going to do this because I want to do it. You're my friend.
Friends.
She didn't ask for a reward of any kind. The reward she got was given out of basically Hades being thankful, not out of asking. Now, some people might say, well, she has foresight. She knew she was going to get it. I don't think that's the case. I think she did it to help her friend because she had the ability. That was it.
Alright, so here comes the fun questions now. Okay, so with one of the reasons why we started this streaming, this podcast of ours, was to kind of help newbies who are looking to, carve their paths and get more knowledge on the different entities, deities, how to do X, Y, and Z, P, D, and Q. If someone wanted to work with Hecate, cat's staring at me, it's creeping me out. If somebody wanted to work with her,
house cats are one of her animals.
How would one go about that? Because I know you've mentioned it previously in some of our other podcasts. There's offerings, there are rituals, there's meditation. What is the best calling card for her?
What I was using fire because that's one of her symbols. And then there's something that is called Hecate's Will, which if you Google it, you'll find it. It's an intricate little design that it is a circle, but it also has, you can see the threefold aspect put into it.
Her wheel?
Yeah, Hecate's Will. It's a symbol that's highly associated with her. I would put that on your altar, and fire, grab a candle. The next thing I would do is I would begin working with her by just saying your general devotions or prayers, and I would start on a dark moon, which for those who's confused, that is a new moon. When it's the 3 days, the moon is dark, because that is the moon she most associates with. In fact, I've heard many practitioners, and Hecate herself called it, when I was working with her, the true moon. And that's because the moon itself has no light. So that's when the moon is truly defining itself as itself, much like she does. And that would be where I'd start if you've never worked with her before. And if you want to do any big devotions and gifts after you've started working with her, that's when I would do it. You can also put pictures of cats and dogs on her altar, because those are both animals of hers.
Sorry, the cat's trying to show the camera her butthole, and I'm just trying to keep it covered. You know, this is a family-ish channel.
Family-ish, sometimes.
Most days it's not, but you know.
That's why I have the mature click before we come on. It's all Lilith's fault.
Damn it, Lilith.
If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have a mature button.
Wants to know about my cat. Yes, she was named after Adam's first wife. Because she was a little hellion when I got her. Yes, I'm talking about you, Lilith. Look at me when you're going to talk to me like that. Rude ass.
But yeah, that's where I would start, because honestly, she's not a tricky goddess to get in touch with. Now, how she will manifest and how she will communicate with you, that's harder to say. I think most people agree that if you're doing a ritual or a prayer to Hecate and you hear dogs barking or bellowing, you're getting your answer. That's usually the most common way that when she hears your prayer, you know it.
So I read somewhere that one of her symbols is black dogs in particular.
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually one of the things that kind of drew me to wanting to learn about her, because I've always had an obsession with black dogs. Like, the one dog that I'm slightly obsessed with out of my pack of 3 assholes is black, primarily. She's a black-headed tricolor. But why black dogs? Why
Hellhounds.
are black animals her thing?
Hellhounds, and she is a goddess of the night. So darkness and black and night all always just kind of weave in together. And I wouldn't actually say the hellhounds part. I know a lot of people love to throw hellhounds up there. In fact, I've seen a lot of artistic renditions where she has a dog that looks like Cerberus with 3 heads. Because she's a triple goddess, and then there's the hounds and the underworld, and it's just like, for me that don't make sense, because the legends say she has 2 hounds. And yes, Cerberus had 3 heads, but we also know that was Hades' dog. But the 2 hounds that I saw with her when I was working with her, they weren't hellhounds. They were hounds. They were metaphysical in nature, but I wouldn't consider them a hellhound by any means. They didn't have other traits.
Welcome, Annie Damsel System. They would like to know, how would you tell if it's her, or if you're surrounded by your neighbors who have yapping dogs?
That's a great question. And living here where I do, anywhere in the South, we have coon hounds. But I'm in military housing. Yappy dogs galore. And that would be the way I go about that and the way I handle that. When you live somewhere, you know the sounds. Think about it. You know when your neighbor comes home. You know which neighbor it is. Not because you looked out the window, but you know the sound. The same thing as you know the animals and the dogs that yip and yap. Like, I can identify the difference between Lilith's little meow and the meows that I hear around this house that happen to be my wife's cats that passed on that stuck around. So once you have that familiarity, if you hear a dog that doesn't belong there, and that bark and that bellow happens during your ritual, and it's set aside from the normal sounds, that's her. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
If
By the
not
way,
off.
welcome to the stream. Aloha.
If not off. What? Oh, okay, yeah, okay. You're correcting the above. I got it. I figured it out.
Grammar is hard sometimes. I know I can't English very well.
I don't notice grammar half the time because my brain will correct the sentence without me ever seeing it.
Isn't the human brain a magical thing?
It really is. It really is. It's fascinating. And that's the reason I sucked in English class, because I'm an Aquarius and my brain wins the arguments. So if I read it and my brain told me the correct answer, I'm not going to see the wrong answer.
True. Okay. So I guess one of my next questions would have to be...
Hey, that's good. Keeps me on my toes. And it helps me with my grammar.
Nah, go ahead. Confuse us. I love it. It also means I get to shut up.
And I deserve it, because I'm that guy that I will post something on Facebook specifically targeting the grammar Nazis just to give them a twitch for that day. So, you know, I deserve
currently
it.
we're on Twitch, so I mean everybody's twitching a little bit.
This is true.
I have dad jokes. Okay, I guess my next question is how would you form... I know this is like one of your least favorite questions, but it's going to happen, so I'm just going to break that ice. How would one form a pact with her?
I would handle it the same way I'd handle any pact, which is, first off, work with the entity, get to know her. And don't just go in, say a few prayers, do a few rituals, and spend time in meditation. If you're considering a pact with a deity, start doing some real deep and hardcore devotional work. And what I mean by that is daily devotional prayers or weekly at minimum. Plus, you want to do one large devotional every month. I mean, you want to make a good, hardcore, solid practice. And you want to have that devotion for, I'd say, a good 3 to 6 months. Now, once you've got that going and you've got a good, solid devotional practice with her, you've built up a good relationship, then ask her if she would be willing to pact with you to take that devotion and that commitment of your relationship further. And I would recommend this for any entity you're pacting with. It's not really your choice. It has to be agreed upon. But with her, you really should go the extra mile, because she's so hardcore on don't define yourself by another person that I actually wonder if she would do a pact. Because in some way, a pact is a contract linking you to her. So, depending on what the pact is and how it's set up, she might view that as you defining you by her, which goes against her teachings. But if you was going to do the pact, I'd go through all that first, and then once you've got that 3 to 6 month hardcore devotion, then approach her about it and work it out in detail with her.
Okay, so I know that I said some things earlier to just kind of annoy people and to piss people off, because that's what I do. That's what I exist for.
Occasionally throws me under the bus with it.
Huh?
And occasionally throw me under the bus with it.
So I brought up a very strong fact that with the resurgence of witchcraft coming up and becoming a more culturally accepted, more sought out path, especially with more, it seems anyways, I'm not going to say this is diehard fact, but with more people kind of walking away from the organized religion aspect of spirituality and moving towards a more open spiritual lifestyle, it seems that witchcraft seems to be the more embraced, and more pagan type religious practices are becoming a lot more embraced. And it seems that it's a lot more female centric happening, or female identifying eccentric folks type moving on with this. And it is very well known that she is kind of the mother of witches. She is very sought after, especially by the female population.
Yes.
Would you say that it's easier for a female, a woman, a girl, female identifying person to seek her out and receive the help and the guidance that they want, vice a male going forth? Or would you say that it's just as easy for a male witch or male practitioner, male identifying, I'm trying not to bust too many balls up in here, but would it be easier for a female to do it vice a male, or is she open to the practice of everybody?
I didn't have any issues, but then, like I said, I was actually directed to her by Hades. So I admit that could have been a bridging area, but that said, I do know a lot of male witches, magicians, and practitioners. I even know a few who identify as warlocks that have approached her and work with her, and they've never had an issue. I've not ran into a male figure who sought her to work with her that's had an issue, with one exception. One exception. And I'm actually glad the exception's there. Now, this person is a jackass. This is the kind of person, if I had the opportunity to whoop his ass with a boat paddle in a dark alley till he was unconscious, I would.
Oh, it's not me. I'm not a he.
So, this guy basically embodies everything that I think gives men bad name. Now,
Burning that stake.
yeah. So, this is why I have no, like I said, I'm not a fan of the person. But we do travel some of the same circles, so we cross paths. Unfortunately, they've always been very pleasant and respectful around me, so they've never given me an open shot to, deck them. That said, this individual did approach her and was turned down and tried to approach her a second time, at which point his life went to hell. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Murphy's Law moved in, set up camp in his house, and he was paying all the bills while Murphy just mooched. And I am convinced that it was his approaching Hecate that done it, because of how he treated other people in general. But I do think how he treated women played a large role in it as well. And she wasn't having none of it.
Remind me when we get off stream, because this is a question that you and I are going to have to handle with delicacy.
Oh, Lord.
But remind me off stream. I have a very serious question for you. I'm not even going to type it yet, because it'll get both our brains moving in a direction that we're not wanting to go today. But it's a topic that I think you and I would be interested in covering at some point later down the road, once we got enough people who can understand that we're not complete and total dickheads.
Okay.
I made
a note.
What?
I made a note.
Huh?
I made a note to remind you.
Thank you.
I love those topics where we're just like, oh crap, should we even touch that?
How many pitchforks and torches are we going to have show up at our house next week? I'm still on an island, so I have less likelihood of people showing up at my doorstep.
Yeah, I know. It's been weird coming back to the East Coast. There's people I don't know who recognize me.
I've had that happen before, where people recognized me from the island, and oh look, there's a cat.
So.
They recognized me from the island, but I was like in Tennessee, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
It's just been weird, because I expect them to recognize me from the YouTube, but no, it's just like, yeah, we heard about you when you done this thing, and it's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. It didn't happen that way. It didn't happen that way. It was much less cool than that.
All right, so I think I have covered every question that I actually came up with.
Really?
And I think so. Like I had like 10 whole questions, and I thought it would take longer to go through them, but apparently I'm not. I'm not good enough at asking questions.
Well, any of the viewers on here got any questions?
Yeah, anybody out in streaming land? Anybody?
Ane Damsel covered a good one. Ane, that name looks so familiar. Ane, are you in a Discord I'm in? I think I might know this person. If not, that is very, very close to someone I know.
Okay, well, since nobody's popping in with any questions right now, maybe we should just start brainstorming for questions, or not questions, for topics for next week.
Well, we can do that for sure.
And we have 13 minutes left of stream.
Oh, I was actually going to ask you a question. You said you was fascinated with black dogs. Do you just mean black dogs in general, or do you mean like the legend of the black dog, or do you mean hellhounds?
Oh, hold on a
Black
second.
dog is a tricky term.
Well, Ane, I'm sorry you have to go to the closet, but thank you for coming out and hanging out with us.
Oh, it is Ane. Hi, Ane.
You have a very good night, day, probably night wherever you are. We look forward to seeing you again on stream.
Yeah.
Okay, so you wanted to know what I mean by my fascination with black dogs. I've always been drawn to them. My very first dog was a black dog, a little pitty type doggy. Anytime I go somewhere, like I always find black or dark colored dogs. I see them everywhere. I love them. They make me happy. I mean, you've seen my dog, and you know how happy that damn thing makes me. Okay, not the one that's on the blanket back there, but you know how much I love that damn dog.
Yeah.
So I mean, like black dogs, black wolves. Oh my god, my tattoo is of a black wolf.
I was curious because, there is a legend of the black dog.
There are many legends of black dogs.
Well, the primary one I'm thinking about that I grew up with was if you're driving and you see a black dog, odds are you're going to wreck and kill yourself. So I know a lot of truckers that if they see a black dog at night on the road, they will pull off immediately. They don't risk it. That's how hardcore they believe in this stuff. And most of them will tell you they're not superstitious to boot.
Definitely when it comes to black dogs.
And then, of course, you got the legends of the Grimm, hellhounds, and stuff like that. So.
Nope, I've just always loved black dogs.
Can't blame you there. They're gorgeous. They are gorgeous.
Like, you can ask Paul. Like, he likes brindle, and he likes, odd colors, like brindle, merle. He loves red dogs. Like, yeah, they're pretty. I respect the prettiness of these dogs and their coat patterns, but give me a black dog of any breed as long as it's an acceptable color for that breed of dog, and I'm happy as a clam. Black poodles, love them. Black labs, I don't like labs, but I think black ones are pretty. Black and white corgis, I love them.
I got to see what a blue Newfoundland would look like.
Yeah?
Yeah, because my feet were cold earlier this week, and one of my little guardian dragons decided to shapeshift into a Newfoundland and lay on my feet.
Aww.
Which
I bet your feetsies were nice and twisty then.
Yeah, it's just weird because you don't see it really happening, and you just suddenly feel this like warm, fluffy weight on your feet. You know the weight when a dog lays on your feet, but you don't have a dog, so that shouldn't be there. And you look down like, what the hell am I going to see this time?
I mean, it could have been a big black penis for all you knew.
Don't give them ideas.
Hey guys, I know what you can do for him next time.
Seriously, the Valentines already have a purple dragon joke that's just, yeah.
You'll have to tell me off stream.
Yeah.
All right, anybody out there in streaming world that would like to ask questions?
This is a first.
I know, this is like one of the quietest streams we've had since we started them up.
Yeah, well, see, this is one of the things I do actually find fascinating about Hecate. She is such an old entity, and lore-wise, you could pretty much sum up most of her myths in about 10 minutes or less. There's not a lot written on her, even though she is such a prominent entity.
There we go.
So
I personally am drawn to her. I loved reading about her once upon a time ago. I probably will go back into studying and learning more about her, just like I said.
well, one of the things that I've loved seeing, like the Hecate sickle festivals and all these popping up in her resurgence, because when I worked with her, there wasn't nothing. It was hard to find anything. One of the things I've loved about it is we're finally getting information to go past the myths, because we're getting people who are having that personal gnosis experience with her to share. The downside is she's growing so quickly, so fast, and so little is known directly. There's a few people who might be jumping into the water and getting themselves in trouble too quick. But
That's not bueno.
But it's trouble that, I'd consider it a learning experience. Like I said, I mean, if you're someone who refuses self-sufficiency and she's trying to teach you that, that could be a rough back and forth. And there's Lilith.
Look at how cute she can be sometimes.
There's an entity we could do a show on.
Cats or Lilith?
Lilith.
I would love to do Lilith. Not that one. I could talk about her for over an hour too, but
So
look at her. Isn't she adorable?
I've been working with Lilith this week in that path working, so yeah.
I remember saying something about that your last stream.
Yeah. Lilith and Samiel. Both at the same time, which that's been weird. That's been a new experience. Working.
You want to talk about it on your stream on Friday?
If I get a chance. I had so many questions this week. It's just, woo! But yeah, if I get a chance, I'll be talking about it. Because I just finished the evocation. Tonight I actually do the first evocation of the two of them.
Since we have 7 minutes left, how about you tell us about your videos coming up this week, your plans for Friday's stream, and what you got going on with your practice?
Okay. That's not a bad idea. Well, a lot of people who's been following the Dragon Magic series will be happy to know that I've been back and forth with the dragons, and they are going to let me share.
Talk about this. I'm going to step away for a second.
Okay. They are going to let me share what they call the Dragon's Eye Seal, which has been really core to my practice. But for the longest time, I've not been able to share it because they've told me to hold off. They're finally going to let me share that, which I will be doing in the next couple weeks. I got a video coming out on it. And I'm just trying to check all their little requirement boxes up to video release. But we should be good. I'm thinking that will be out not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. We should see that video. This Tuesday, we are actually doing a video talking about dragon magic and draconian magic and how they do differ. They're not the same practice. The live streams we've been talking about my path working with the Clifothic rulers and how I've been following that and how that's been going. Of course, we take viewer questions, so I answer any question that the viewers have, which those live streams have been taking off. Which reminds me, I did state that I would be doing a video. I'd go into my own personal grimoire of dragons, find one of those dragons and do a video sharing the dragon's name, sigil, its area of expertise and all that, if the channel hit 500 by the end of February.
Looks like you're getting close.
We're past it. We're at 514.
That's right. This morning you passed it.
The ideal was, since my birthday is on the 18th, we would see if we could, because we weren't even at 400 when we said this. And I thought it would be a possible push. So I don't know what's happened, but everyone has been just apparently spreading the love and telling everybody about the channel. Because we went from less than 400 to over 500, and my birthday's the 18th. We haven't even got there yet. And I thought we might need the whole month to get close. Y'all proved me wrong on that. Thank you. So that video is coming. If you're watching this, if I have 2 picked out, but we are picking from the 4 base elements. If y'all message me and let me know what element you'd like to see, if one element wins out over the others, I'll pick one specifically from that element. Right now, I'm looking at one from air and one from fire.
I was going to say, it's probably going to be fire, because that's what everybody loves.
Well, X-Boonwell was an earth dragon. I didn't want to double up on that.
Okay.
So, that is happening. And yes, we will have mugs available for those who drink coffee or tea or whatever. This one actually, this one should be available by Tuesday.
Hell yeah.
The other one, which actually has an artistic rendition of the Dragon's Eye Seal, I wanted to be able to show everybody here tonight because Magical Coffee Hour, coffee cup, you see. But due to the snafu, we're going to have to wait.
It's okay.
But they've been working with me, messaging me. They're working on getting that fixed and getting me new samples sent out to make sure they're correct.
You'll have to send me me a link to who you use, because I might have to start getting some caffeine and chaos stuff going. So
They look great, don't they?
they look fantastic.
I wished I could have got like the whole handle black, but that was kind of my first complaint until I was working late one night and I realized there's an advantage to a black coffee cup with a white handle.
And what's that?
You're less likely to miss the handle in the dark when you're drinking your coffee.
That's true.
So there is an advantage. So I'm actually, for practicality reasons, after getting it, I'm kind of glad it's got the white handle.
I was going to say, can't you ask for a black mug next time?
This is the black mug. The way they print them, you can put your image on different colors. This is the black version. It's just for the printing doesn't get this section back here for some reason.
Well, I meant like the mug itself is white.
They didn't give me that option.
Rude.
But, I mean, the quality's good. And it's, I want to say it's 11.5 ounces. So it's a pretty decent size mug.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few of those cups, like my unicorn one and my Pikachu one.
Yeah. I mean, granted, my Death Wish mugs, I think they're like 16, 18 ounce mugs. But that's a big mug. It really is. This is a bit more
reasonable for normal people.
Yeah.
Well, normal is a relative term when it comes to viewers of our channels.
Or if you're like me and you always set the Keurig to the large cup because, you know, who wants a small cup of coffee? It'll hold that, which is important.
All right, friends and fams and friends, everybody that, wants to be included in that as well. I think we have reached the end of our road.
All right.
So we will discuss offline what we're going to do for next week. And then how about you guys go over to workingdragonmystic.com. Go check him on Twitter. Go check him on Instagram. Go check out his website. Go check out some fun things such as classes that might help your meditation, which, by the way, I'm taking the meditation course. And I'm finding it quite helpful. It's basically meditation for the soul, just a lot less expensive. And you don't need a health insurance for that either. So,
Let's hope it never gets that bad.
Huh?
Let's hope they never make it so you have to have health insurance for.
Oh dear God, that'd be horrible. All right. With all that being said, Drake,
Linda.
It has been fun. It has been real. And it's been real fun for me.
It's been a blast.
It has. Our viewers have been incredibly quiet today, which means there's something up.
They're recovering from Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day is a pretty rough time for a lot of people. I had some of the worst champagne in the world. It was gross. But I also don't like white wine, so The sparkling white wine.
We never do anything for Valentine's Day. That's just us. I didn't even realize it was a thing until I was about to go live Friday. My friend Katrina, she goes to the gun range.
She goes to the gun range?
Yep.
Is that what you said?
Her husband had this thing where he was a museum collector, and he had Tommy guns. So what he would do every Valentine's Day is go to the firing range and unload drums of bullets down the range, celebrate the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, because in his mind, the only thing that ever happened on Valentine's Day worth remembering was that.
I like it.
So his wife continues the same tradition. So if you ever ran into them on Valentine's Day, odds were they'd smell very heavily of gunpowder.
One of my favorite smells.
Yep. So.
All right, friends. It's been fun. Tune in next week, where we will have another topic of discussion. We look forward to hearing your questions. If you have questions that are on your mind and you don't want to wait until Sunday or Friday for either one of the streams, we're on Twitter. He's on the Working Dragon Mystic. No, Dragon Working on Twitter.
Dragon Working on Twitter. YouTube, just search Working Dragon Mystic. And our website, where the blog and the classes can be found, is workingdragonmystic.com. I think you can leave me a comment there. But if all else fails, our email address is workingdragonmystic@gmail.com.
Boom.
Other than Twitter, everything stays the same. Twitter just didn't want to play ball.
See? So hit us up on one of those with your questions. We'll be more than happy to answer them. So far, we haven't been asked any questions we didn't have an answer to, and if we don't have an answer, we'll typically research it. And if I get asked any more times about Aragon, I'm just going to throw a book into a fire or something, because I really did not like that book when I was a kid, and I'm struggling to read it now.
Did I miss these questions? What's going on?
Oh no, I got hit up on Twitter if I had read it, right after your Dragon Magic stream. I got asked about have I read Aragon, because I said I hadn't read it, but I needed to reread it to see if I still hate it, and I still hate it.
I ain't read it either, so don't feel bad.
It's okay. You're not missing much. In my opinion, you're not missing much. It drove me nuts. And I tried so hard to read it again. I can't.
I have started Rick and Morty.
Huh?
I have started Rick and Morty.
About damn time.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I like it, but it's one of those shows where there seems to be no point to it. So, as an Aquarius, I have to be in the right mood to sit down and watch it, because generally there has to be a reason to watch something.
You brought up the fact that you're an Aquarius 10 times tonight. I'm starting to worry that you're getting into astrology.
Don't worry, I'm not. No, I'm not.
He's getting into astrology.
I've seriously, there's been 100 times I've thought to myself, I need to actually look into astrology, because I've told y'all, that's the one area of magic where I suck the most. I know nothing. I will send you to someone else. And every time I will sit down, I'll find books, and I'm just basically waiting for payday, which is at best a week away. And payday gets here, and it's like, nah, I changed my mind. I just can't get into it. I really can't.
That's fair. All right.
All right, everybody.
Stay caffeinated, coffee and chaos, do some magical things, and have a great cup of coffee, guys. I'm Caffeine and Chaos, also known as Belinda. That
I'm
guy over
Drake.
there, that's Drake.
The Working Dragon Mystic.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.